Hey, I'm live. Just a momento. I'm going to fix my camera. And welcome to my daily party. Yay. Welcome to Sunday live art stream. 60-minute art. I'm just going to plug in the light over here real quick. And then we're going to get to business. So this morning I was looking through everything I've done this week. Ouch. Just hit my ankle. And I didn't know what to draw because this week's been so fun doing some really complicated, this is a lot, for an hour. It was super fun. I love doing it. Don't get me wrong. And I think it's going to make a really nice video. I'm going to edit it as well. So it's been a fun week. How about a yawn? Excuse me. Drinking my coffee. Thank you for joining me for my coffee. I've had a fun week drawing book covers, and I wanted to do something today that didn't require so much study in my drawing. I'm gonna do representational. I'm gonna do a picture from Hawaii. So let me just check my volume real quick. Let me just make sure that you guys can hear me. View my channel, just a moment. And I unfortunately don't know if chat is available here because I didn't have this set earlier. Okay, there we go. All right, we're up. I think you can live chat, but I don't know if the replay. That's neither here nor there. We're gonna draw this picture today, and I just want to get my stand for my. I'm gonna do it in Neocolor 2, which is a water soluble pastel. It's fabulous. It's one of my favorites, and it's super good for when you want to just loosen up, So that's part of why I'm using them today. First of all, I want color. Second of all, I want, kind of messy smudginess. I want some messy smudginess. And I also want to draw something that's reminds me of summer and of fun times in the sun, And because we're going into fall, and fall is my favorite season, and October is my favorite month. I mean, I love my birthday month. I have a great birthday month too. I have June, but I love October and I love fall. So I wanted to do, excuse my yawn. I wanted to do, I've been up for a couple hours now. I don't know why I'm yawning. I wanted to do something that really made me feel warm and cozy. And I guess in a way that you wouldn't expect, because warm and cozy is usually, what are we usually thinking about? We're usually thinking about tea on a night, And that's not what we're doing today, but just drawing some trunks here. Some tree trunks in a rainforest. We stayed in a rainforest. I got to get back there, okay? Clearly, I am being called. Hawaii is calling me back. I love to draw Hawaii. I think it's a beautiful, dare I say, magical place. Dare I say, mystical place. Just go into the rainforest. You ever watch that show, Naked and Afraid? I do love that show because a lot of the times people go on that show, and they're very good outdoors people, right? They have all the skills, and they're like, I was just so unprepared for this. This place is spooky or whatever, right? Yeah, it's rainforests, I think, are full of, you know, stuff that we don't stuff that we don't know about. Stuff that is, I don't want to say otherworldly. Let's say supernatural. It is obviously of this world, you know, whether or not it's in our space. I'm getting all woo woo on you now. Okay, I will stop. But I'm just putting down my chunks, my tree, and this is like a cool brown, and it's really nice to use these on their side. So neocolors are great to like really beat up like this. Cheers, because when you do, a whole new world opens up to you. So beat up your neocolors. I'm gonna do some light sky just to sort of block it in, because I'm gonna be doing a lot of coloring over this, and I don't really think I want to be doing in between. Like, I want to get like a base down, is what I'm trying to say. Can I say that? Yes, I can say that. And there's different ways to do that. Like, you don't have to do it this way. You could wait. You could draw your palm fronds and everything, and then um you could then do your blue sky around it, and then you could leave, a little bit of white space around, which is a really nice way to do your sky or your background too. That has its own, cool effects that you can get. I like that because you can sometimes get like a halo effect. I'm going to grab my water brush. Not going to use it a whole lot. Okay, famous last words. Who knows? Because you know why? Because we're live, and like things happen on lives that I say, I'm not going to do this today, and then I do it. Like, how's this? I'm a lefty. I'm not going to use my right hand. I never say that because I know that's not true. I will use my right hand. So when I was probably like in my mid 20s, my mid 20s, and I had been working um, as I worked as a illustrator and animator for a children's educational media company, and I was okay. This is like kind of the dawn, not really the dawn of computers, but it was like I had just entered the workforce, and computers, right? So what I'm trying to say is that hadn't I didn't use them in school. I didn't use computers. I was a painting major, and I didn't want to. Basically, I just didn't want to. So I didn't, and I learned on the job a lot of the time. So like I learned Photoshop at a job. I learned, animation software at a job and all this. So okay, so where am I going with this? I'll tell you where I'm going with this. I hadn't, you know, used my hands. Sorry, I keep yawning. And I hadn't used my hands and wrists in the same way that you use on the computer, so I was kind of not used to it, I guess, and I got some repetitive stress situations in my hands, which I'm sure a lot of people did. And where did that lead me? It led me to I mean, this was like it went on for years and years and years, and then or wait, years and years. I'll say years and years, not years and years and years and years. Um, I mean, you eventually you I did therapies and stuff, but what I'm trying to say is before all that happened, before I was in that spot and I had to, wear a brace and all this stuff that I had to do to improve my situation, I had to sort of wrestle with because I was a total. I mean, I'm a total lefty, but I had never used my right hand for like any kind of drawing before this. So that was sort of, I actually, back when I was working for that place, I still hadn't, I was wearing braces and stuff, but I hadn't used my right hand. It was later on, a few years later, that I had to like stop doing everything with my left hand for a while to calm things down. And that was like my first foray um, into learning to use my right hand for things. And I highly recommend it. Like it was painful. And I mean painful like it was like mentally painful. It was mentally painful to do that. Like it was not fun. I was kicking and screaming. I was struggling, but I learned how to use my right hand for things, and that was great. So now I'm not afraid anymore of like I've broken the seal on that. And then I will say, let's see. So I did eventually get better and I was able to use my left hand again, which I use because it's my left hand and I'm left-handed and I didn't like move to using my right hand all the time or anything, but a few years ago, like more recently, I I had some, and probably I still do. My eyes are very very sensitive. Okay, so two um, I've had two um, retinal rips that I've had laser surgery on my eyes twice, one each eye. So my eyes are really sensitive to high contrast lights. So okay, let me back up here. So basically, I for a while my brain hadn't caught up with my eye issues, and this was sort of, I had a fall and I hurt my hand, and I had to take a month from not drawing or doing anything with my left hand. The reason I fell, come to find out, like a couple years later, I think it dawned on me actually, or maybe it was like a year later. What dawned on me was that when I had my fall, my eyes, like my I have a depth perception um challenged. I am depth perception challenged because of my eye stuff. Um and I didn't know at the time. Like it didn't dawn on me. And yes, I had doctors, I had gone to the doctors, but nobody ever said this to me. Nobody ever said, you know, that this is going to affect your depth perception or anything. It was something that sometimes doctors just sort of assume that they just don't, they're just not like giving you all the information, I think maybe because they just don't even think of it, you know? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Um, I took a pretty bad fall, and it was because it was like, I think it was like 2019. Anyway, I had my whole face was black and blue. Um, anyway, it was a depth perception issue, and I didn't realize it until after the fact, like way after the fact. And okay, let me get back to what I was talking about before, and how that connects to. I talk about my eyes another day. How that connects to left and right hand. So at that point, I couldn't use my left hand for probably like 6 weeks. They had me, not use it. We didn't know if I had chips in my hand and all these things because I landed like that. I landed on my nose. I mean, it's kind of a miracle that I didn't smash my face in, but um, I got very, very lucky, even though I fell hard on my face. But I fell on my left hand like that, and I'm gonna just take a sip of my coffee. And we had to just sort of calm this down and not. I couldn't use my hand until I got certain tests back and stuff. So because I may have needed surgery, but I didn't. Yay! Excuse me. So what happened was I had 6 weeks of not using my hand, and I had to get through this. I had to get through it. So I started a non-dominant hand um, series of lives, and I would go on and draw on YouTube. We do non-dominant hand um, lives. So I would just pick something out and draw it with my non-dominant hand. And then when I was able to use my, when I got in the clear for my left hand, I drew like the same picture in my left hand and my right hand. So I have that handy. Hold on, I want to show you real quick. Real quick, real quick. I have it right here. I have some of the pictures of you. So, drop my mic. I'm back. Put it back on. There we go. Okay. So this was a non-dominant hand drawing, and then this was my right hand, and then this was my left hand. So it was really interesting to see like the differences in 22. Okay, so it happened in 2022. Interesting. Okay. And then why did I think it was? I thought it was before COVID. I guess it was after COVID. And here's another one. This was from my left hand. And then this one was from my right hand. And I think I really learned to appreciate how you can say more with less lines sometimes when you're drawing. And then here's a tiger from my left hand. And then here's a tiger from my right hand. So, I mean, it's just a fun, I don't know if it's fun. It's fun. It's especially fun after the fact. But I will say that it's a good challenge to do, and it's very worthwhile. Um, I think you just have to sort of jump in and give it a shot, and interesting things come out of it for sure. Um, I thought I told myself, okay, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna keep this up. I think I want to keep up these non-dominant hand drawings. I didn't, but maybe I should. I mean, now that I'm doing lives all the time, I'm thinking, geez, that's not, it's not a bad idea. Because when you use your non-dominant hand, I do think you're using a whole bunch of um, you know, little brain cells that you aren't using otherwise. Like opening those up is interesting. Let's do some of this with my right hand. Because why not? We're here, right? Okay, no, I'm done with that. Not today. Not today. So that's that. Live to tell the tale. Live to tell the tale. Broke my nose, but I mean, from that incident. But can I tell you something really funny that happened? So everyone agreed I broke my nose, but there was no evidence of it on the x-ray. But it was clear that my nose had been broken. And I had a little, before the fall, I had a little bone spur, I guess you can say, in my nose. On my nose, rather, like on the ridge of my nose. I had this little bone spur that drove me crazy. But I mean, it wasn't visible to anybody. It was just uncomfortable. I just didn't like it. It hurt. It's from wearing glasses for like over 30 years. That's what it's from. And even though, you couldn't see it, it annoyed the crap out of me. It wasn't comfortable. And I mean, but it was just not, it wasn't like uncomfortable. It just annoyed me. Okay. It just annoyed me. And my little bone spur was gone after the fall. It was like I got a nose job from the universe, which was great because I gotta tell you something about my nose. I love my nose. I've always loved my nose. And I don't ever want to do anything to change my nose. Ever. Like I have a deviated septum. I have a moderate deviated septum. I'm fine with that because I don't want to have a nose job. I don't want anybody breaking my nose. I don't want anybody touching my nose. It's going to do anything to my nose because I like my nose. And when I went to the doctor for a deviated septum, and I got approved for surgery, and I had a date set. This was like actually not that long ago because I had sort of been suffering with, allergies and all this for many, many years. And if I'm not careful if I'm not careful when I get a bad cold, it can turn into a sinus infection pretty quickly if I don't, if I'm not super careful about it. By that I mean I have to use a neti pot and stuff. Neti pots are amazing, by the way. If you ever have, nasal, if you ever have, if you get, let me put my mic over here. If you ever get infections like nasal, nose infections, sinus infections, please get a neti pot. And be careful with what you put in it and what you use. Like, do take super care. Use distilled water or boil your tap water for, a long time, like 10 minutes or something before you use it. But they will change your winter. They will change your life. They will make things better for you. Anyway, so um, I was going to have surgery and then I decided against it because I just wasn't comfortable. Like I have a little bit of an aversion. Let's say I have a big aversion. I have a big aversion to um, elective surgery for myself. Like there's just no need. I've had enough, especially now. I've had a lot of not like stuff that needed to be done. I guess most surgeries are elective. Like I could walk around with dislocated hips for the rest of my life, but if I wanted to, so I guess that wasn't necessarily not elective, but I needed to have that surgery done. I just won't. I don't want to do that. And the deviated septum thing was kind of, it does if I manage it, if I'm like active in my management of it, I'm fine. At least for now. If I ever have to have that surgery, I will. But for the time being, and I'm fine with it now. I can manage it. And I mean, for as moderately bad as it is, I actually like I have very little issues comparatively to other people. So, and if I thought that the surgery was really gonna like, if I thought that I was in shape, the type of shape that it was going to make a, you know, gigantic, gigantic difference in my day to day, then I would have done it. But I just don't, I don't think I'm at that spot. You know what I mean? I just don't think I'm in that place. Sorry about the noise. I chose my Neocolors today because I didn't want to have to keep going into my big jars of them because these can be really loud on mic on my mic. So I really don't want to put you through that. I don't want to risk that. So anyway, what are you doing this Sunday? What are you doing today? I'm just really in like mellow mode today. And I think I'm just sort of, you know, I do lives like every day, which I love, but it does mean that some days are more mellow than others. I've actually really impressed myself because I am an introvert, but I do love people and, I'm not like afraid of people or anything. I think of introvert versus extrovert as kind of like an energy thing and kind of less of um, what some people think it is, which is you just don't want to like leave your house or whatever. I mean, yeah, that can be true too, but it's not exactly the same thing. So I see them as different. I kind of think of introversion as like an energy, like how much energy do you have? How do you have to, and like talking, it's a lot on the talking spectrum too. So I can